If you want to earn faster, you need to learn faster. And yes, it really is that simple. But before you click off this video because you now have the answer, I have a quick question for you. Do you actually know how to learn? Yeah, that's a legitimate question. Do you actually know how to learn? You see, the first stages of learning for us happened within our homes while we were babies, then kids, and then we've gone into schools and they had an entire system set up for us as well. They gave us these thick old textbooks, expected us to read through it, study that material, and then would give us an exam that we needed to pass in order to pass that class. That also led us to assume that that was the way to learn. Come to find out, that is entirely inaccurate. And I, for myself, have experienced the right way to learn, which is directly linked to how you earn. You see, in Myron Golden's Boss Moves book, he makes this very clear and simple that wealth has a need for speed. It is easier to make a lot of money in a short amount of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. And this comes from being able to learn a thing which is directly tied to how much we will earn from learning that thing. Myron goes further to break this down into 4 stages of learning. And unless you go through all 4 stages, you don't learn anything in its entirety. Most of us have been stopped from learning a thing in its entirety for all of our lives. Think about it. How much do you actually remember learning from grades kindergarten to 8th grade? Even 4 years over high school? Maybe all of the classes that you actually have taken in college. Think about this system. We've learned a little bit about a lot of things over time. And because we only know a little bit about a lot of things, that doesn't mean that we've actually learned the thing completely. So it turns out we don't need to accumulate a bunch of information on a lot of things. We need to focus on one thing so that we can earn a lot more. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about the 4 stages of learning, and then I'm going to help you choose one area of focus for 2026 to which will increase your revenue by 10x. So let's jump right into the very first stage of learning. Be sure to grab your notebook and take notes and leave what you take away from this video down in the comment section. The first stage of learning is ignorance. Y'all, newsflash, we are all ignorant. We are all ignorant about something. It's actually crazy now for me to think about how we would use that term to slight people. I believe that that term was used to historically oppress people, but newsflash, we're all ignorant about something. There's a million things, a billion things that we have no concept about simply because we're unaware, much less of knowing how to do the thing. And so I say this to not offend you, but to make you aware that anytime you do not know something, anytime you are unconscious about something, a language, the distance from one end of your country to the next, that is a level of ignorance. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I just want to make you aware because immediately following ignorance is awareness. And awareness now allows us the opportunity to learn about a thing at all. In school, subjects and topics were chosen for us to learn. We didn't have an option until we got to high school, maybe for some of us until we got to college. And even then, there were still prerequisites, certain subjects that absolutely needed to happen, that we absolutely had to take in order for us to graduate to the next level. But as we're talking about our dream small business, we not only get to choose our area of focus in our business, but we also need to know certain things about how to run a successful business, right? So, kind of the same concept in terms of school, but a whole new way of learning. So, now that we're aware and no longer ignorant that there are some things that we absolutely need to learn in business, specifically sales, operations, marketing, branding, content, etc. Now we can move on to the next stage of learning, which is to accumulate some knowledge. So we used to say the term knowledge is power. I totally disagree, because just knowing a bunch of things doesn't lead to anything, right? If you accumulate a bunch of information and keep it inside of you, is actually no power. It's no power until that value is shared, maybe through conversation so we can make someone else aware, but it's actually best when it's utilized, right? So the things that we have, the things that we buy, if you were to go to the store and buy something, like I have this can of Red Bull here. Didn't buy it, by the way. I don't drink Red Bull. This was given to me, but we're going to use this as an example. I have this can of Red Bull. We're going to pretend that I bought this can of Red Bull. It is entirely unopened. It's been sitting here for a few days as I think about what I'm going to do with it. This Red Bull was created for someone to drink. And when they drink it, something actually happens, right? So this has no utility sitting on my desk unopened. It only has utility once someone opens the can, drinks it, and receives whatever benefits is supposed to come from it. And this is the same when it comes to knowledge. We can have some knowledge or a lot of knowledge, but there's no utility to it unless we utilize it, right? Unless we use it. So that's why I say that is inaccurate to say that knowledge is power. There's a few more steps that we need to complete in order for knowledge to be power. So for right now, what we do know is that knowledge is info. It's a bunch of information that we have in our minds that we need to do something with. And this is why I think it's really important that we actually don't focus on many things at one time, because then we miss the last two steps and stages of being able to completely learn a thing. So think about something that you absolutely need to know in your business, about business, going into the year of 2026. Choose just one area of focus that you need to know, because after we've determined that you need to know that, then we can begin to accumulate the knowledge and information that you need. And once you accumulate this knowledge and information, the next stage is to understand it, right? I think about all of the classes that I've taken over the course of my life and how I obtained a bunch of information about this thing and had no idea what its use was for, when to use it, how to use it, why it was needed or necessary. But school said I had to take this class in order to graduate from this place. And so I was compliant, but I never actually could understand every single subject that I've taken in school. Now, does this make me lesser than anyone else? No. We have now determined even that IQ is not actually what makes you the most intelligent. Some people's brains are wired to memorize or to be able to recall information efficiently. They could bring it up to the surface. They could spell all of these words that a lot of other people don't know how to spell, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay, and even win spelling competitions, right? But does this earn you money at the end of the day? And not just once, but reoccurring income over and over again? Is this value that you can share with someone else so that they can utilize it and earn money over and over again? I don't think so. And so we found that we don't have to feel lesser than anyone else who might be capable of memorizing or recalling information at an instant. Instead, what is more valuable is being able to understand it. Like, think about when your car breaks down. You might have no idea what is going on with your car. So you do what? You take it to a professional. A mechanic can tell you what's happening with your car, and they may even use terms that you don't understand, right? They may tell you that your gasket blew out or something is up with your transmission or your engine. And they can use all of this wonderful terminology that they've learned, accumulated a bunch of knowledge about, but they understand what it takes to make that thing work. Therefore, they're able to figure out the problem. Therefore, they're able to figure out your problem so that you walk away with the solution. And then guess what? You have to pay that mechanic for all of the knowledge that they understand and you don't. So it's important that we don't just accumulate a bunch of information, but that we understand it. Have you ever paid for a workshop or a webinar, accumulated a bunch of knowledge, and never used it? Maybe you didn't understand it. Maybe you didn't go through the full stages of learning that thing so that you can now turn that into lucrative income for yourself. So remember, we're choosing one thing for 2026 that you absolutely need to know and understand in order to earn faster and earn more in your business next year. Okay, here we go. We're already wrapping this up. We're here at the fourth stage of learning. This wraps up everything in its entirety, and you absolutely need to do this thing. Or better said, you need to have this thing. And that is wisdom. 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 That's so funny that dumb is in there. We need to have wisdom. What is wisdom? Because I also learned something that was inaccurate about wisdom. I learned that wisdom comes with age. Oh, no, it don't. Wisdom comes after you've been ignorant, after you've gained some knowledge, after you understand that knowledge, and then after you've applied that knowledge. We have to experiment with the thing that we learn and understand now. So many people go through school, get a degree, and then they actually don't apply any of the knowledge that they've accumulated over the last 4, 6, over 8 years, right? Think about an area that you've been focusing on since high school, right? Maybe it was law, and then you went to college, and then you even got your master's, right? You taking the bar exam, and then you don't use any of that information. Guess how much money that's going to earn you? Or not very much, right? Because we actually need to have this one thing that people will pay you endless money for. Rip their money out their pocket to give you. And that's experience. If you had a toothache, and unfortunately you had to have that tooth extracted, if you had the choice of going to an oral surgeon it was their first time doing an extraction and you were their very first patient to do this on, or an oral surgeon who had 10 years or even 20 years of experience. Just saying. Not to say that the surgeon who is going to do it for the first time isn't going to do a good job. But if you had the option, if they asked you at the desk, right? Even the very fact that they're asking you that, right, would make you think that you would definitely want to go with the one who's done it over the course of 10 years, 20 years. So they've done it hundreds, even thousands of times. You're not their first rodeo. And if they were able to do it hundreds or even thousands of times, they must have had more success than failures, because then they probably wouldn't still be in business, right? This is the same for your area, for your industry of what you're selling, what you're teaching, or whatever solutions and value that you're providing to your ideal and dream customer. They want to know about your experience. This is why testimonials are important. This is why reviews are important. This is why you need to have results ready to show that you can do a thing. Above anything else, we love to work with people who are confident. Maybe it is your first time doing something. Maybe you are about to make your first sale. Guess what's going to help you make that sale, though? It's all of the stages that came before it. It's the understanding, it's the knowing. It was even your unconsciousness that always was becoming for you to be the version of yourself that says, I know and I definitely understand this thing, so I can definitely help you. Wisdom is experience. So unless you have actually applied what you learned, you are not wise. Wisdom doesn't naturally come with age. Wisdom comes over repeated action over and over and over again. This is why it's really important for you to focus on one thing during 2026 and complete all 4 stages of learning so that you can actually earn a bunch of income for your business or for yourself so that you can actually profit in 2026. I was beside myself about how willing my fitness clients were willing to pay, not just for their transformation, but pay me directly because they are aware that I've went through all four of these stages because I was able to do this thing for myself. I've had the testimonials, I've had the reviews to show for it because I continue my education and learn as much as possible. Believe it or not, this book, Boss Moves book, Business Optimization Success Strategies from $1 Million Roundtable, has helped me tremendously in my fitness business. I have made several additional $1,000 because several additional $1,000 this year simply because my ideal dream client can and has experienced the value that I've been able to give to them because I went through all four of these stages. And you can too. And so before you leave here today, I need you to drop a comment down below about what your area of focus is going to be in 2026. I find that staying in community actually has also helped to propel my success. And so I'm offering that here to you today. I want to hear about what you're going to focus on in 2026 so that I can find ways to support you and this community can find ways to support you. Furthermore, I need you to cop a copy of this Boss Moves book so that you can learn for yourself. Less than 200-page paperback filled with easy to learn information. I mean, Myron is so smart. He makes the sections and the chapters very short. He adds images and doesn't even take up a lot of the space on the pages. So there's not a lot of words to confuse you. He speaks in very simple terms that you can understand and easy to follow. When I followed these steps, I was able to earn additional income this year simply because of the value that came out of this $30 book. So go ahead and click my affiliate link down below, grab your copy because I'll be continuing to make references from this book so that we can learn more and earn more together. And then finally, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that for me so that you know when I drop more content like this and you know what I'm working on and you can follow along. Hit the notification bell so that you know when I drop that content as well. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.